what they do, how they do it, why they do it, what it takes to do it, and the perspective they have on life. Today I got Stuntman. I'm gonna have Mav1 joining us and Tyler joining us. I'm not sure what his breaking name is nowadays. He keeps changing it. But yeah, got Stuntman to start it off, and we're drinking a little bit, you know, having a little fun. Cheers, brother.
Hello.
Go ahead and, well, salute. Good stuff. Give yourself a little introduction. Let everybody know who you are.
My name is Stuntman. I represent the West Coast, Pasadena, all day, every day, LA area. Represent for your styles crew, style elements, and originality stands alone.
Let's go. I'm not gonna lie. For some reason, I thought Pasadena was in Texas.
Texas has a Pasadena too.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, they do have one.
Okay, cool. Is it bigger than Pasadena, Los Angeles?
I don't think so.
Oh.
They're neck and neck.
Well, you heard it here first.
Ours is better.
Yeah, that's awesome. So one thing I want to say is, you know, I got Mav as my mentor, but I just recently learned that you're Mav's mentor. So, you know, you're Mav's mentor and, you know, OG, but obviously still a veteran because you're still going. This thing is annoying. Talking to it?
It's one of those.
Like, let's
Check,
see if it works.
1, 2.
Check
That
one,
should be good.
Yeah, we're good. But yeah, bro.
Yeah, I try not to claim anyone's mentor, and definitely I'm not an OG, but
Yeah, you're a veteran.
People
Still in the
put me
game.
into there. I'm a seasoned dancer for sure.
Let's go. So, what does breaking even mean to people that aren't a part of the scene?
Well, breaking is considered the original dance of hip hop before hip hop was even called hip hop. So, the origins with breaking is in New York. It is a dance, and it has been around since the early '70s, as we know it today, as an element of our culture.
Okay. So, why don't people like the term breakdancing?
There's split opinions about it. Just from what my elders have told me and what I researched, breakdance was a terminology created by the media in the early '80s. So practitioners that want to keep traditions typically will steer away from that word because it didn't come from us.
Yeah.
It didn't come from the inception.
Okay.
We had different names, b-boys, b-girls, and obviously breakers.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of people like cringe at it. It's almost derogatory to some people.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because when I go to some of these schools, working with MCSDA, trying to, you know, we trying to build hip hop programming, after school programming, in all these schools. But when they get confused, all you can say is, you know, they're breakdancers. It's breakdancing.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to say is it's breakdancing. But you know, on top of everything else that we offer. But so what's it like to be full time into this art? Like, cause you travel the world pretty much, right? Like you went to a lot of places this year alone.
This is you know, I don't want to say it's my full-time job, but I mean this is what I am. This isn't. I don't clock out. I don't just like I do it when it's convenient or on the weekends or like I live it. I go to sleep and I wake up still thinking about this. So for me, it's just forever evolving, and then being involved makes a big difference because some people say they do it but they don't leave their house or their garage.
Yeah.
And I think it's bigger than that because when you share, when you train, when you study, when you get inspired, all of that I realized was really, I was getting a lot of benefits from traveling, even though I was going to judge or to compete or to teach somewhere. Them bringing me into their world or their country, I was able to really share what their traditions are as people and as a country on top of what hip hop has done for them. So I think the beauty of doing this day in and day out is being able to still be inspired by the people that were inspired by you, and it's a constant cycle of learning and just revisiting things that maybe I thought I was very 100% on, and then just learning that maybe it wasn't what I thought it was, but still learning for me. It's an ever evolving nucleus, if you will.
Yeah, have you learned a lot from the countries you go to? As when you go to teach, you take anything away?
One of my favorite things when I travel is I try to find the oldest breakers in that town and just listen to their stories.
Like to their OGs and veterans?
Some of them are, believe it, some of these countries have such a young scene, or it was so quick in the 80s that it's just lost, that some of the cats that are considered the elders in that country are younger than me.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't mean I know more than them or I'm better than them or anything. It's just I'm learning to let these people share their stories because I'm curious. So I have been to some countries where there's elders, and I've been to some countries where they're just their oldest dancers are not that old compared to me. They've been dancing shorter than me, shorter amount of time.
When we did this last battle, you were representing the Philippines.
What battle?
Here, what was it? The Christmas one.
Coachella?
Yeah, Coachella.
No, the Philippines. No.
Well, you were repping something, and you're like, yeah, this is a group out in somewhere. What'd you say it was? You were repping. I thought you were repping somebody. Like,
No, the name I entered was a Transformer name.
okay,
I
yeah.
entered as yeah.
I saw you had like a story to go with it. What?
Yeah, the shirt I had on has all the names of Transformers that come together to create a bigger Transformer called Menasor, and the name of those Transformers are Stunticons.
Stunticons.
Yeah, so you have to be a Transformer nerd to get that.
Okay.
Like, I think Matt was the only one that knew.
That's one thing I'm learning is that a lot of the people in the breaking community are basically like nerds, you know, in a good way, you know.
Yeah, one of my boys, shout out to House, he most recently was like, bro, we're hip hop nerds, and I'm like, no, we're not, but we are. We definitely
literally,
are.
you
we
are.
geek out on things, like we collect stuff. Like there's a new book that came out by Phase 2, rest in peace, and I was geeked out to buy that. So yeah, we're nerds for sure.
Just from everything, from Umicon to like the Marvel universe to that, the Transformers.
Yeah.
I noticed that everybody is nerded out. It's like some people might be intimidated by what they see when they look at the hip hop culture, but it's like everybody's into anime and you know like
they are. I'm not a big anime dude.
Yeah, I haven't been.
No, I don't watch much TV, but I have, growing up, Transformers were around before I was even breaking.
That is true. That is true. But so what countries have you gone to this year?
Because of the pandemic, I've been very limited. So I've hit Mexico a lot, and then I went to Colombia for my first time.
Okay, how was that?
Bogota. It was good.
Oh yeah, you were out there.
Yeah,
the
weather was interesting, but it was good. Was able to meet some folks, taught a class, hit some spots, some clubs, and because of the pandemic, it wasn't as open. But it was the view there was beautiful, the people were beautiful, and I had some people show me a really good time. The locals, once again, just because of the culture, I wouldn't be able to go to a country and just be like, hey, can you show me around? But because of hip hop, there's cats that are like, we know who you are. You need to. I want to make sure that you that my city is represented properly in your eyes when you go back and share stories. So I had a kid that a few people, but that showed me a really good time.
One thing I've kind of off subject, kind of realized. I noticed about that. It's like some people in Colombia, they claim Escobar and his history with pride, and some people are like, what was your experience with that out there? Did you
I didn't
talk about it at all?
No, we're good. Most of our conversations real simple, hip hop and food. I love cooking. I love eating. So
because it's like glorified over here in America, but then when certain people talk about it, it's like
it's like like Fidel in Cuba too.
It's like wait, we don't want to talk about that. It's
like,
some people go to Colombia and like that's what the experience they want to get, and it's like maybe you shouldn't talk about that over there.
Yeah, no, I didn't get any of that. I'm just really huge street art scene. One of the biggest and best I've seen ever visually.
A lot of graffiti artists out there?
Bro, they have literally an area called Distrito de Graffiti. Like
really?
The graffiti district, like the city.
That's
has a sign and everything.
If you want more, you can fill up or whatever.
Yeah.
Mad One, we were just talking about you.
Did you start?
Yeah, we started. Figured, I already said we were preparing for you guys to come back. We had to make a beer run because we needed more. But Mad One, enter in the chat. I will unmute you. Put on your headset. Let me know what you hear. Also, one thing I already asked Stunts. Oh yeah, if you want to play music too. But I just Stunts. What is breaking? I haven't had you on the podcast to talk about actual hip hop yet. We just talked about like mental health and stuff like that. But what is breaking to you?
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear yourself? Very casual. That's what I like about my podcast. Is I keep it casual. I'm like, I don't care about all the fancy schmancy stuff.
I'm gonna smash those chips. I can't hear me.
Oh,
I can hear you.
You can hear me?
oh no, you were turned down.
There we go.
Up there.
Okay, now I can hear you.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I just want you to know.
But yeah, I have some Sprite too. Did you pour yourself a drink?
No, I was waiting for my sparkling water.
Ugh. I've made a run for us.
I don't know if that says sparkling
What? They
water
have
in
this here?
Spanish.
Where is it from?
Mexico.
Mexico.
Oh, word.
But I've never seen this brand in the U.S.
Yeah.
And I know it's Mexican because I go there often. Yeah. Hell yeah.
You speak Spanish?
I do. That's my first language.
Okay, I was say I hear you sometimes, but then I'm not sure if you're just saying the basics. Like me,
I'm just saying words out there.
like vamos, and that's
Yeah.
listos.
My parents don't speak English, so Spanish is a household.
You got a cap? Oh, you did.
Find a cap.
Yeah, we got cups. Where the rest of the cups go, Stunts?
Oh, I got them over here just in case.
Hi. Mad one in the chat. Hi.
In the chat.
Yeah.
Like it's a room and
It's like
an old website.
A video game chat, yeah.
Map one entered.
No, not the old website, Stunts. Don't do that.
Chat room. As far as I go back, I used to be in
Got drywall.
the bboy.com chat rooms.
There's new chat rooms, new forms of chat rooms. Oh no, Tyler's calling me. I hope to God he's not pulled over.
Oh.
Hey, man.
Hello?
Hello. Should we take this
hold
call?
on, I'm on. Like, can't afford to put that stuff on there.
Uh-huh.
But anyways, luckily he's not. Luckily he's not pulled over, going anywhere. Gotta update the tags. Yeah.
Just did that.
Get some music going real quick.
Hold on, I had to do this. Oh, what'd you say? What'd you ask me? And then I could kind of.
For you, what is breaking, and what's it mean to be full time in it, like
Ooh.
versus just a hobby, or
Like,
because literally your whole life is breaking in hip hop. So, what does that mean? And what does it mean to
What
do
is,
it? Even if you're not a rapper, like what does it
breaking?
mean to be in hip hop full time and to be dancing full time? Because you got people that go to school for dance, then they don't know what to do with it. Did you go to school?
I mean, high school.
Yes.
Graduated high school. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. Story of our lives. Everyone here.
breaking. I don't like. It sounds like corny to say, but it's a feeling. But I think at the root of it, if you don't understand like why you're going off to the music, like at that concept of breaking, like less about like all the semantics and history and stuff like that, but like breaking, I think just existed with people before like the music, like the idea of like going off, breaking, like you hear a song and you're like, I need to, like, to the point where breaking is like where you would push people out of the way to get on the dance floor and like into a circle. Didn't matter what it was. I feel like that's like at the core, like what it is, and what it still drives me is like looking for new music to find that feeling too. And like when, like God, if I gotta get down to It's Just Begun, or like the classics are great and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, it's there, but
It's huge, is what I'm realizing. And especially when it comes down to stereotypes, there's some people that think breakdancing is just pop and locking. There's some people that think breakdancing means spinning on your head.
Oh my God, I get
There's,
that all
you know what I
the
mean? There's like,
remember what you did before in the settings?
let's see.
It's really confusing. to
Oh, it's
people, too.
compared to your MacBook Pro. So now try it.
It could be super confusing too, because if they're related to only one thing, what they see or what they were told, or even what their teachers told them, it gets weird. Like I remember when you first tell somebody, at least early on for me, oh, you break? Do you do power style, or do you do footwork or power? And that's hard for me to answer because I don't really do either. I have elements of both, but I don't do power. I don't do footwork. So they were like, what do you do?
But you go
Yes.
off, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's the thing, is some people who are, that's why I never was like, oh, they only do power, they're not a b-boy. It's like, they're still breaking. Like, if they're going off like with tops, if they're going off with power, if they're going off with, abstract styles, if they're going off with foundation, like traditional stuff, if they're hitting mad flips, like they're still going off. Like that's what I was saying, is like at the core of it, like whether you do style, power, anything, like are you going off? Like that's like the essence of breaking, and then you get into like all the other stuff.
Yeah, but even piggybacking on that, the going off should, in my opinion, always have a relationship with the music, so that's dictating you going off on top of whatever you have going on in your life, bro. So for someone to come in and totally ignore what's playing, then you know, in their own right go off, there's still a disconnect there that I think sometimes a more mature eye can catch, or still have an opinion on. Hell yeah, they went off, but or they totally went off and some.
Yeah.
Do you think that, like, to challenge that, do you think that maybe while they're going off to the music in their head, you know how everybody hears something a little different, and it's like, that's why I always was like, oh, okay, that's making them want to do mill air flare mill, because they're just like all hype, like holy shit, you know, and like wanting to go off, as opposed to somebody who wants to like catch a groove on the beat and still attack it with the same energy.
If it's because of what's playing, again, if it's only ignoring that there's music on, then it just doesn't translate. And sometimes it goes further, because we could be in person and totally feel the energy of someone going off and having that relationship with that particular track or that part of the song, but then you watch it on a video that's more 2D and be like, damn, it just didn't feel the same. So it's hard for me to ever judge something off a video, especially if I wasn't there. I was like, I don't know, man, I wasn't there. I can give you my opinion on the steps and what was given or what was done, but there's a lot of people told me early on through the years, like, yo, I didn't think I thought you were overrated till I saw you dance in person, and that's what it is. You feel something, and that's definitely essence as well.
So like the essence of it, the ether, the like
Love that.
existence of it without existing, if you will. Like breaking is about that essence. What was the other one? Oh, you can hear it. It's good.
Yeah.
I know, right? You can hear the sound. It's like,
Yeah, you can. I heard myself gulp. I was like, yeah, this is little
we're making the crowd thirsty.
But breaking, I mean, and then just it's what gets down to certain music, certain steps and stuff like that. Like there's a foundation, there's an approach, there's stuff that makes it breaking, and then there's stuff that like you take it. It's funny because all of my people I really like am inspired by are more on the untraditional breaking styles like stunts, but I break very traditionally.
One thing
And I focus on like a more, even like my like the school of thought that I teach is very traditional.
Yeah, as I've been here at M68, I've been just taking notes of all the elements and everybody's different styles. And I notice yours is way different than everybody else's, but also when anybody does anything you do, everybody's been like, oh, that stunts is move. They're copying stunts. Like, we went to a few battles now where people looked around and like, well, who's gonna tell them that stunts is like that stunts is move? How does that feel? No,
I've heard it for years. Like, yo, this dude was doing all your stuff, and I never really tripped out on it. And then I would watch the footage, or someone would tap me on the shoulder and like, watch this guy. He dances like you. I think 9 times out of 10, I didn't see it. I was like, nah, I don't think that got that for me.
I respect that.
Sometimes cats would tell me they got it for me, and I'd still be like, it just didn't feel like it. And then that 1 out of 10, I'd be like, oh my,
he's copying me.
that was like blatant.
Looking at yourself.
Like that dude in
one you
DC
told-
that
yeah,
I
the one you
sent you.
told me about?
Oh
Yes.
my god,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
dude, like the whole crowd, like me, Marvy, and everyone, literally were like, if that's not stunts, it's Midas. And then it was Midas. But then he did your hood. We call it a hood ornament. The
Tyler
pole
entering
freeze.
the chat. He's gonna join the
I
podcast.
have the two.
Have a seat.
It's either
No.
Yeah, none of that.
Have some, speaking of originality, have some of your own personality instead of, you know what it is, it's a boy.
Shout out so and
If you don't
so.
know, now you know. You know what I'm saying? Whole lot of what's up, everybody?
yeah, man. Nah, I think
wait.
coming from a fundamental or a foundational approach comes with years. Because if you would have asked me, early on, I remember really being anti quote unquote fundamental. I was like, fuck foundation type attitude.
He's not a b-boy.
And part of it came from the rebellious mind of going to New York and having cats be like, you're a toy, you're not breaking. How could you call yourself a b-boy?
New York was
So,
calling you out?
When I first went to, in 97, when I first went to New York, mad cats were just ridiculing my style and
Right.
who I was. So I was like, what? So instead of going back and being like, oh, I want to dance so they could accept me, I went harder at what I was doing. And now, almost everyone that I remember was there clowning, I've somehow gained their respect, which wasn't the goal, but it happened within my journey. So I'm I'm very adamant now about kind of what Mav said earlier as far as breaking and traditions and fundamentals. I think for me, my approach is of an original b-boy. The way they attacked, like I attack the same way. My movement might not be exactly like theirs, but the formula is there. Top, go down, floor work, and whatever that is freeze or whatnot. But I also think with years, for me, whatever I do, whether people think it's breaking or not, when I do it, because I'm such a hardcore breaker in my mind, it becomes a breaking move, no matter what I do, because of who I am.
Because you're claiming it.
Because I'm owning it. I'm like, it might not be a breaking move, but watch me create. I have a teapot,
Watch me create
top rock
breaking
freeze.
moves.
I'm like, I just made this mine, and it's breaking.
Moral of the story: double down. Eventually, everybody will come around.
Tyler, I've asked the veterans now, what is breaking to you, and what does it mean to take that full time?
Better not make me look bad.
Yeah, this is your teacher, so. And then this is his mentor, so don't embarrass
I
him.
got these scars.
No pressure.
Damn, what is breaking to me, and what do I want to do with it full time?
Yeah, what does it mean to be full time? Because
I mean, like, I don't want to just say that it's like, I don't want to give off the tacky, like, oh, it's a lifestyle, but it is though. You know what I'm saying? There's truth to that. Like, Mav one, a lot of like aside my other, older, like, role models, I would say, or
you gotta
mentors
call
or
him
whatever.
old. Just kidding.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
go ahead,
Like,
go ahead.
a lot of my big brother figures,
Yeah.
they push the on the floor, off the floor narrative. You know what I'm saying? Mav might have called it, he might have gave it like a coin, the whole on the floor and off the floor, but even like when we travel, like a lot of my, a lot of my big brother figures and stuff, they apply that same narrative with their practice sessions, with their showcases, with building, you know what I'm saying, just different ideas and whatever they want to pursue within that time frame. So it is a lifestyle to me, you know what I'm saying? Dance is dance, hip hop, like being able to create, being able to wake up in the morning and actually and just make something or own something in Stunts' case too. That's a blessing. So, and I think that's a lifestyle. In terms of taking it full time, I definitely intend to do that full time for sure, bro. Like, I wanna not even on some extreme dance athletic stuff, but I want to just be able to dance for as long as I possibly can, and ultimately until I leave the earth. You know what I'm saying? Do I expect to be like 60, 70, breaking? No, but I still should be able to at least throw a nice little set, like nice little top rock footwork, whatever, and call it a day. And
Or be in the
with my
scene,
wife one
be
day,
a mentor
whatever.
by then.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I do plan on doing this full time for sure. Maybe not on a competitive aspect, but I definitely intend to dance for as long as I possibly can.
Yeah. So Matt, I already asked Stunts this. Why don't breakers like the term, for people as ignorant as I am on the show, why don't we like the term breakdancing? Or breakdancers?
That shit whack. That's why.
Stunts answered.
Per my last email.
Where's the cup? Give me a cup.
You got it? Oh, here's yours.
It's great.
Did you see that, Stunts?
Your last email?
No, not my last email, but did you hear from them about that they were calling it breakdancing originally?
The post? Mm-hmm. I can't say they because there's one person.
Who, the Olympics or who?
Nah, this is, I don't know, some OG's OG.
It was Sasa.
Oh, shit. All right, so it's...
Oh, we're calling people out of the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I wasn't ready.
Expose him.
But okay, so all right, so traditionally everybody gets mad at it being called breakdancing because it was like a coin term. That b-boys started okaying, which I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I never got like super upset about it because it was just like, if that's what you relate to, cool. I'm gonna educate you on the way in.
Facts.
And then like all of our stuff says breaking and then underneath parentheses breakdancing, just because people are gonna be like, what's breaking? I'm like, look, parentheses, breakdancing. So whatever. I mean, it's like historically it's not what it's called because it was just something the media did. But those guys fucking okayed it. You know what I mean? Like that was the big thing. Is like everybody was like, don't call it that, and they were like, don't call it that, and then they got called out for being the ones to call it, and they were like, well, And then you find out and you hear, Sasa, all this stuff in the posts all being shared. It's just like, I don't know. I'm not a harbinger of death over you called it breakdancing. I'm more like
I can't hold on to one person saying that's what they called it because there's, again, with that history or any history that if you weren't there, you just try to listen to enough of people that were their story and kind of 80% of people are saying, 90%, 95% of people are saying we didn't call it that. So for one individual that happened to be at the cohort parties to say that, it's like, there's a lot of stuff these guys say that are already questionable because of their age/lifestyle. And even for me, that I've only been around almost 30 years, and there's some stuff that I remember differently than someone that was there. We could be at the same jam, and we could watch the same cipher and be in the same cipher. Your recollection of what happened is going to be different from exactly. And it's like, wait, I don't remember that.
It was like I battled like 8 people, and went 30 rounds, and people are like, "You walked into the circle and did a round."
Mm-hmm.
No, there was and then their homies like, "Yo, we smoked that whole crew."
Exactly.
Heard a lot of that, Coach Chillin'. A lot of shit talking.
Oh my god, I love it.
We're not gonna say those names.
I
will. We can talk about. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no shame.
I want to address some movies because when I was growing up, I was watching some of these movies. Like, oh, this shit's
I
tight.
hate them all.
So we're talking about like Stomp the Yard. How do real breakers feel about Stomp the Yard?
I don't remember breaking in that.
I've never seen that movie.
I've never
See?
seen Stomp the Yard.
Okay.
I'm sure it has
So what do you
a
call
lot of
that
people
kind
have
of?
seen.
What do you call that style of? Damn.
Hollywood.
TikTok.
Hollywood.
Before TikTok came around,
Hollywood,
TikTok.
because it was probably Venom in them.
It just sounds like
No,
body percussion.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, any breaking that was in any movie in any way, shape, or form at that point, like Mav said, it was some.
I'm gonna call 'em out, so-
What about
So we did Stomp the Yard. What about what's the other one?
Isn't there like a movie or Battle of the Year? What was like?
Battle of the Year was
Later.
a movie based off
But
Planet Rock.
earlier, like 2000.
What is the other one? Step Up? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, so you got like Step
What about-
Up,
Step Up,
Stomp
You
the
Got
Yard,
Served,
You Got Served.
Honey.
Yeah. Okay, let's
Honey.
talk about that. You got served. Let's start with that one.
I think they're all corny as
I
hell.
don't know.
Yeah.
Corny? Is it?
Corny.
That's not real breaking.
Hell no.
Why?
Did you see the way they were battling?
I mean, I did, but I'm not a pro. You guys are
Bro,
pros.
Crumbs was in
I
that.
want the pros. I want the pros' opinion.
It doesn't make it any less corny.
Okay.
I mean,
every
so-
time I bring him up, I
What's
get yelled
what's
at.
corny about it? Because like I can.
Because
I
that
can
shit was
agree.
corny.
Listen,
But
hold on. Like, 'cause I
Cats
can
made their
agree
money,
with
whatever.
Yes, not hating on them for doing it, whatever.
I mean-
but that shit was just corny. But go ahead, Ty.
Like
Not the
I
dancing,
I
the
can
film
see
was
why it's
corny.
Yeah, like
For
the
clarity.
film, like the lifestyle, like
So the acting in it was whack, but
yeah,
the dancing was okay.
whack. I feel like the acting in a lot of
The
those movies
breaking
was whack,
was
but like
legit.
the plots
The
weren't
breaking was
bad.
legit?
Because a lot of the stories and shit that like you see on a like big screen, and so especially with dancing, we have like a lot of students that can relate.
What
You know
about-
what I'm saying?
What about when Little Kim was like, "Keep it straight, street"?
I forgot about that shit.
I
I forgot
fell
she
out of
came out here and talking about like.
Bro, we got kicked out of we got kicked out of Fairlane because we were
Oh,
booing the
Lord.
movie. We got kicked out of Fairlane, and then we started ciphering in the like outside, and the like security guards were like, "That's cool, but y'all gotta go." We were like, "You got served, bro." Like, and then they were like, "You got served." So like it was funny, but
But that one actually had
Little Saint.
a little culture. It seemed like compared to what was it? What was the other one? we
Step
said?
Up.
Step Up. It seemed like Stomp the Yard. Or what was it?
Stomp the Yard definitely had
Not
a lot
Stomp
more
the
culture.
Yard. Stomp the Yard and You Got Served had more culture.
Or
than
You Got
Step
Served.
Up.
You Got Served definitely had a lot more culture than Step Up. Like
gotta
Step
watch
Up was
Planet
just
Rock.
like Step Up was just.
See,
a
those are the
typical,
real
like, high
ones that
school
they're not
dance
acknowledging, though.
movie.
Planet
Yeah,
Rock
shit.
was like what led to Battle of the Year
Right.
movie. Even though Battle of the Year is a real event, but
Wait.
yeah,
Am I clear now?
you go that way. It's
But for the people that saw Step Up, what do we say about that?
Step Up was whack as fuck. Can
Both
I
of
cuss on
them?
that? Can I
What
cuss
was
on
it?
here?
I didn't
Yeah,
see
yeah.
Step Up was whack
Spotify,
as
baby.
fuck, dog. Like, so the characters. I'm not gonna talk about the characters because the characters are just the characters in the movie. But like, the storyline wasn't bad. The plot wasn't bad. You know what I'm saying? Like I said it before, it was because I can, like, I can see a lot of people relating to that. You know, a lot of dancers, a lot of up and coming, like younger dancers who really don't have much.
Because I never.
Yeah, just the
Shit,
typical,
I remember.
like dancers, really good. You want like he or she wants to pursue their dreams of a dancer or choreographer or whatever, and then they're just going through the rough. They're just going through the life.
So
Diamond in the rough section.
You're at a good age to ask this, Tyler. So someone told me that, and I don't know if Mav, you can relate to this. Well, I asked Mav first. How meaningful was Beat Street for you?
Beat Street was like the Bible.
Yeah.
Like we watched Beat Street, and we knew like the plot from like start to finish.
Knew the lines, knew
lines,
yes,
everything. We'd be like,
you
okay,
quote
wait.
it and you just knew.
Stop.
So someone told me that to a certain generation in a certain country,
Say the
You
name.
Got Served is actually my crewmate in Spain.
Oh, damn.
He told me that You Got Served was like their generation Beat Street. Like, how do you would you say yes,
Yeah,
no, or
yeah.
what would be your generation?
When did
Beat
you see
Street?
Beat Street?
probably
Honestly-
after these movies.
Honestly,
I have not seen it.
True be told, I watched B Street in 2015 after.
When we did it here, right?
No, actually, when you were still teaching at Western,
Oh shit! I
and
did.
you like introduced us to breaking, and then we was just like, let's watch B Street, and that was that. And I just didn't say anything about it. I just kept quiet because I didn't know if I was the only one who didn't see the movie. But yeah, that was like maybe the first time I actually seen B Street. But yes, to answer your question, yes. For my generation, I feel like B Street is a classic. I don't know. I don't want to speak for my generation. I don't want to speak for my generation. I'm gonna speak for myself. I just want to say that B Street is definitely a classic. And I feel like that should be in its own like caliber in terms of movies and shit. But in terms of like stuff to come from that, yeah, so You Got Served is definitely like another version of B Street for a lot of dancers. Just maybe from like my generation and like our younger brothers and sisters. I want
Yeah,
to say
that's what
like,
I was told.
yeah. It's like asking somebody like who Kobe was
I've
and
never
they were
seen
born in
it,
like
truth be
2030
told.
type shit.
Like B Street was, I don't know, B Street, because then there was fucking all those LA movies.
Yeah.
Those were corny, and I thought they were dope when I was younger.
I thought all of them were dope.
Electric
but I'm
fucking
ignorant.
Breaking 1, Breaking 2. There was a Pilot. Remember that one? Pilot.
I don't
The
know.
Pilot. Yeah.
Pilot.
Yeah.
Let's make our own movie.
Yo,
Let's
watch
make like
it's
the
happening.
Pilot.
Oh no, Madness by
That was West Coast.
let's make our own
But
movie.
one of the rawest ones is still, Style Wars.
And then like
That's a documentary.
Yeah,
Have a fire-ass
and Wild
director.
Style too.
Wild Style. I prefer
Style was
Wild
dope.
Style over B Street.
Me too. Except for the battle scene. But yes,
Yeah.
me too.
But the Star Wars footage was so dope.
No, it continues to be dope. But there's something about, because I remember walking into a club and looking at cats and be like, we're gonna battle. So seeing cats at the Roxy do that, I was like, oh snap, we did that. They
That's
did
what
that.
we do.
I would like to retract what I said earlier. Not all Step Up movies was whack. Step Up 2, The Streets was probably their best one.
That shit, I'm not gonna lie, the water scene was
I've
mad
never
lit.
seen any of them.
The water scene was like,
Best Step Up scene.
I haven't seen any of them.
that shit
And
hard.
maybe Step Up 3. People will argue and say Step Up 3. I'm gonna let the people watch.
You mean
This is
3D?
the perfect time for your
I didn't like that
podcast.
one, but-
For those
Yeah,
who's watching
lasers.
or listening now, comment below if there's any comment section. What's your favorite Step Up movie for sure? Me
Damn.
personally,
Favorite
Step Up
movie?
2. Step
That's
Up
the
2
only
was
one I
probably the
like.
best one.
The rest of them I thought were cheesy. I'm not gonna lie.
Step Up 3 was okay. It was like a cool 6, 7 out of 10, but it was more like a solo movie. It wasn't. It was
Yeah.
less about like the dance scene as a whole. It was more just kind of focused on like maybe one or two dancers.
Yeah.
True.
But you know, I lost respect on that movie because
seen
who is it? Was it the dude from Chicago with all the speakers? The Trey?
Who?
Barrow's friend? I can't remember, but someone was telling me about how they
You
had.
name dropping heavy right now. I'm not gonna
You know how
lie.
they had a bunch of speakers in that movie, like the bunch of old school.
Yeah, the boomboxes. and
Yeah,
stuff, like all the
boom
boomboxes. Yeah.
He told me that he like lent them one of his, and they were just treating it like shit the whole
What?
time. The whole time during the movie.
That was,
And
like,
he was
Step
like
Up
picking
3.
it up, like hey, like polishing it off, like be careful with my
What?
shit, bro.
Did you just call a bunch of boomboxes speakers?
See, this is why I'm ignorant. This is
not
I have a podcast based on this, dog. Like,
Yeah, no, there was that.
But
Step
so
Up 1 and 4 was trash.
it sounds like I have multiple generations here. How old are you, Stunt, if you don't mind?
44.
Math?
36.
Tyler?
23 Jordan, you know what it is.
So with that, what's your generation of breaking? Now I might go around and ask. So think about it. What was your generation breaking when you came into it? What was that?
I started it in my opinion, one of the most ignorant generations ever.
Okay.
The resurgence.
The resurgence.
Like breaking died in the mid 80s, so when they started doing it again in the 90s, you had a big challenge of people like, oh, that's played out, why are you doing that? Like we would literally brawl at parties because people thought breaking was the stupidest thing ever.
Really?
And part of it is we would take all the attention from everybody.
Yeah,
so.
you make men insecure.
But we're ignorant.
The
'cause
not dancing men insecure.
No one was telling us it was right. No one was telling us it was wrong. We literally would watch Beat Street Battle and imitate those moves and try to make them better or doper, and then had our local influences of dancers. But there was no breakers around me.
Yeah, and
There
I
was
was-
literally no one teaching breaking or sharing anything related to hip hop for the first 3 years of me ignorantly breaking in my hometown. I didn't even know those were the breakers outside of my city.
Okay, Matt, what you got? When you started, what was it like for you and your generation?
Same. There was like this ceiling of if you have a 90, you win. Yeah, it was like it was weird because like we had like the original like people that were getting down around us, it was incomplete. Nobody really knew like solid foundation. We don't have any OGs here. Like there should be people that live here older than me, because stunts you have seniors, right?
Not in my hometown.
Not hometown, but like LA County.
Yeah, but I didn't know they existed for years until I got into it.
But you had like
yeah,
Caesar,
we have Air Force.
stuff like that, and everything. Air Force, and
I mean, Radiotron in the '80s was huge.
Poe.
He moved there in '96, but
You know what I mean? So it's like you had established people and you're already. And then I should have been coming up underneath those sort of people. We didn't. Everybody kind of all started at the same time within the same like year. There was no legacy crews, nothing large. Like it's why like foundation is lacking in and around us. I'll say it's becoming more commonplace because people are traveling. I'm bringing a lot of it here by having like a lot of like of those OGs like Wicked and Stunts and stuff, people in their 40s that have been dancing since like 95. They've got 5-6 years. You know, well, Wicked was the 80s, you know what I mean? You know, so it's like somebody that was there at its conception. We don't have that. In LA, in Chicago, in New York, obviously. Like Street Masters goes all the way back to the 80s, right? Mm-hmm. Right? And that's like Florida, and then Flipside King. So you have all these like there's this pyramid.
There's a tangible lineage.
Yeah, tangible lineage, like of people that go back 10 plus years before I started. There's nothing of that. Everybody started at the same damn time, and a couple people had windmills, a couple people had this, and that
In this half of the country, you mean? Or
no, this is just in
general
Detroit.
for your generation.
In
Oh,
Detroit,
Detroit?
yeah, in Detroit. Chicago had some pretty solid stuff, but for whatever reason, the talent level was just always like sky high out there. So like whatever we had, they like toppled us constantly.
But part of it was because they did have that.
Yeah, because they had people. They had
cats
Chicago
were active.
champions. They had Phase 2. They had
Brickheads.
Brickheads. With that started in '86, arguably.
Like mid-'80s,
right?
though.
You know, and it's like so. Like that's a crew that's still existing. You know, Cheekies and Beast Boy are products of 30 years of breaking culture in
crazy.
a city and a crew.
Yeah.
And they're still bringing that on. Versus Tyler is product of 10 years, if that. You know what I mean? So it's like that's like kind of like our generation and stuff like. And everybody else fell off.
God damn it!
Everybody else fell off. There's strings.
What? Your strings
And me.
fell off?
No, there's strings.
I was like,
and-
what? I'm talking about my dog.
Like that's it. Like,
We would not condone any
that's it.
slander on
Like,
this podcast.
But that's my dog.
like
Shout out
there's
strings.
nothing else. Like anybody else?
Yeah.
Anybody else before
Like, a lot of
strings
people fell
or
off.
around strings?
I got some family members that fell off.
Collecting
but they're
data so I
coming
can have a
back.
good answer for it's my turn.
Right? And then anybody who's still kicking after me?
All the
Y'all.
rocks. Yeah. All the rocks.
Like it literally goes like that. Like and so that's like a big issue stunts with our scene is I don't have anybody before me and the people that are after me are 15 years later.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
it's.
everybody else fell
I
off.
mean, I told you the first time I came here, there was a lot of cats. The only one I remember by name is U-Turn, but besides that, like I don't know who could have even.
At any time anybody
I bet.
gets brought up and just Strings hasn't been as active as he used to be, which is he's fucking 42, right? 41.
Hey, I'm 44.
I know,
Strings
but
is cold. Though. Strings is cold.
Strings dope.
Strings
but
is cold,
he's not
man.
active, so people don't know who he is.
What do you mean by active?
Like out there competing and stuff like
Was
that.
he
There's
battling?
small pockets of people that know who Strings is. They've
Yeah.
seen and heard of him, but they can't name a place in a battle specifically to like give him like an anchor to be like, yo, this is Strings' era and stuff like that.
Nothing against him, or if he even cares. But if I didn't come here as often as I came here, I probably wouldn't know who he is. Either.
Yeah, 90% of the
Yeah.
people I talk to don't know who he is. Yax was like,
Yeah.
he didn't see him until the 40
I
and
mean,
up battle.
I was gonna say he made noise.
Yeah,
at
that 40 and up
freestyle
battle,
set,
he
yeah.
dominated,
Yeah.
bro. And like people were like, "Yo, who's this?" When I went down to Nashville with him in 2017-ish, I think, for Get Rooted. 2017, 2018, maybe 2018, and Venetia's Jam, and I just like, yo, like people were like, yo, who is he, Mav? And I'm like, he's been around, like, and I'm like, and because a lot of the people that that Strings is like, it's just a bad luck of the draw. The people that Strings invested in, as far as like crew and network out there, fell off. So there's nothing to like continue going with that.
He would be like loosely, and you've heard of him obviously, but our ace.
Yeah.
Ace? Who's that?
Ace is out
Ace
there in
is
LA.
His name
is a
is?
Cali cat. He lived in Delano, if I'm not mistaken, center of Cali. Then he moved to my hometown, Pasadena. So he was in my original crew. But when he came there, we were only maybe 3 months when we started the crew. And then we met him, and he was already like light years ahead of us as far as what we knew breaking was then. So, and he's a little older than me, and he's one of the few cats from my original crew that still break, but he just doesn't leave. He doesn't care to leave. You had him see him in a club, you see him at practice, smashing. Competition, he might do well, he might not, but he's been around longer than me, and he's been ill
And
longer than me.
that's what I mean with Strings, is like everybody his path that he invested in just fell off. Like there's nobody to carry that legacy besides Mary.
That's
Like,
true.
Mary.
But you know. Yeah. That's true.
Ace is like he invested a
Yeah.
lot, but like
And
he acts.
So out of
that
hardcore
wasn't-
Detroit, is anybody still doing it? Or like,
Just Strings and Mary.
Just Strings?
Yeah, that's the only names that ring bells. Like nobody else's names gets brought up.
Yeah.
And if they remember, Strings is like the only other one outside of that. Now Medi's coming up and like making noise. So
He's part of hardcore Detroit?
no,
No,
it's
he's
bad,
bad.
but it's just another crew that's coming up out of Detroit
Out of Detroit,
specifically.
yeah.
What's that crew called? It's not-
Bad Battle
Battle
Attack
Attack
Destroy.
Destroy.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then
bad.
and those are the homies, and
Where's
they're
Will
younger.
from?
Yeah,
Huh?
they're
Where's
home.
Will from?
Can't
Crew-wise.
99 Styles, and they're like kind of all over. And it's like GCOS. It's like Preach is the other one that's like always making a bunch of noise and stuff. Still relevant because Preach is still out there competing, traveling.
I saw him here
Like yo,
two
he was
camps
in
ago.
Europe with Robin and them and stuff. You know, he was out there. He's been,
That's dope.
you know, staying busy and stuff. And yeah, it's like Preach is another one that represents for the city heavy. And but
So I'm gonna ask Tyler. Tyler, what as a young cat coming in the game, what's going on with you? Like, how's it? Who are your mentors? What was
Man,
coming in?
these niggas
Come on. Coming into the breaking scene. When did you start? 4 years ago?
I started in 2015, like early
6 years.
6 years ago.
Yeah, 6 years
Okay.
ago.
So what's it been like for you? What's traveling with it like for you? What's the battle culture like for you?
It's a blessing overall. I can't really speak too bad on it for real. Like it's definitely things that I would like to see changed for sure, and I think that just kind of comes with it. You know what I'm saying? Like Mav told me this years ago. He was like, "You're definitely like you're gonna see a lot of shit that you're not gonna agree with, but you really can't really speak on it until you've been around a little bit longer."
But you can make a change.
So,
you can make an impact.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
that's definitely the move for sure. I can't really say anything too bad about it. Like it was kind of like what Matt was talking about. Like I kind of got like the last little bit of whatever was good. type
yeah,
shit.
you really did come in like the tail end of like
Like,
crews existing.
Yeah, like
'Cause it-
me,
it sounds
like,
like- go ahead.
myself and like Suave, perfect example. Like he kind of got it a little bit earlier. I think like a cool like 3-4 years.
2013.
Yeah, like yeah, I want to say
Yeah,
like
because
a
he came
3-4
out. He
years.
came out of 5E with Huey.
Yeah, so and then
5E gallery, baby.
and even so, like even during the 5E days, like breaking wasn't. I didn't know too much about it. You know what I'm saying? Like I was definitely dancing when I was like during the 5E days and everything, but like I was never breaking. I didn't even know that was a thing until maybe
Yeah.
like 8th grade. Nah, 6th grade, 7th grade type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe I didn't really know anything about it until maybe high school. And I didn't see an actual official crew, actually like training sessions. I kind of, how do I say this? I kind of like started understanding like how stuff works. I want to say like the first 2 years of me breaking,
Okay.
like in terms of like how
We met
scenes
you in
look
9th
like.
grade, right? You
Uh,
were 9th or 10th?
No, I was like the second semester, 10th grade.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't really know how things really worked in terms of like scenes, how jams go, how to throw a jam. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I did a lot that a lot of people in different scenes didn't do at a very early stage when I started breaking.
So you spent the last few years putting in your stripes.
Yeah, and
Earning
like
your
I
stripes.
didn't really know. I didn't even know I was earning my stripes. I didn't even know what that was until maybe like year 4, until like actually like being around stunts and actually hanging around like Mav and actually hanging around Yax and like Baby Girl and actually hanging around people of actual virtue and seeing how I can be able to like where my wiggle room is at, where can I work and where can I actually have an impact at my age, because I have time on my side and time on my hands. How can I be able to build off that and make something greater? Because like I said earlier, I kind of got the last of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm so grateful for my crew and so grateful for the friends that I made during this dance journey for sure. That's both in and out of state. But yeah, I want more.
So it seems like you got the last of the culture and the originality, but now we're going into a new phase, which seems to be the Olympics.
Yeah.
So how do our veterans feel about the Olympics, and how you feel what's going on with it? How do you think it's being handled? Whoever wants to answer first.
I don't know if this would be the Olympics yet.
No.
What do you mean by that?
Like the next chapter that we're stepping into, I don't think it's the Olympics.
When does the Olympics process start?
I mean, for us, we don't have anybody who would even fucking pop up on the radar.
Well, yeah.
You know what I
Are you
mean?
talking about
So,
Detroit or America or what?
Midwest.
Midwest area,
Pepsi
like-
is like literally it, but nobody
Pepsi?
else.
That's an artist?
No, she's a dancer out of Indianapolis, GCOS.
She's the coldest in the Midwest out of men and women?
Yeah, oh yeah, she's
Oh, the coldest
arguably
beat girls, bro. What you mean?
I'm talking about dancers in general.
breaker. She's
Yeah,
like
she's
the
one of the
coldest
coldest
breaker
breakers.
in
Let's
the
go.
Midwest. Like,
Acknowledge that woman.
I'll always.
Her name's Pepsi?
Yeah,
is
Pepsi.
fire.
Yeah.
Pepsi, let's
Pepsi
go.
is like, and then she's a dope ass dancer. So it's like
Yeah.
that's what kills. Like what gets like how she dominates over a lot of, especially the B girls and just the B boys in general. At the end of the
Hell
day,
yeah.
she can hit a couple moves, but she can dance.
Yeah.
So it's like
That-
if you can't dance, then you're losing to Pepsi because she'll
So,
just expose that. But
Who's gonna hold it? Oh, go ahead. Finish.
I was just saying, like, I don't see us going anything really relevant towards the Olympics for the next couple of years for us, Midwest wise. Me and Soul, like, we can't even like with like our studios, like everybody trying to sell me on the idea of you're gonna make, you're gonna be able to get more people in for the Olympics. I was like,
Why?
not really. I was like, not in my hood. I'm like, I'm not in the suburbs. Like, they're not gonna give a shit about the Olympics. Like, none
You
of
think
these
only
kids-
the suburbs will care about?
yeah, ask any a kid in the hood about the Olympics. They don't give two shits. They watch the NBA.
All right. They box.
Yeah, they box. They don't watch Olympians. They don't give a shit about the Olympics.
And they can do that during the Olympics for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's not like a possible thing. Like you could definitely go to Olympic like status during boxing and like soccer and like, but that's you might as well go.
Yeah,
for,
like none of it is
actual,
none of
like,
it's
voting
Olympic
world.
Olympic level.
Yeah.
Like
Stunts waiting on you, Doc. How you feel about the Olympics
I'm
coming up?
super simple. Super simple.
How you feel about this
I've said
Olympic
it.
journey?
I've said it and I'll say it again, and I know my lane, and I'm hard on my lane, so
What's that?
I'm not excited about the Olympics at all
Why not?
because it doesn't do nothing. It doesn't make me or break me,
Does it make you break you?
not at all. But I am excited for my circle of friends that are excited for it. I'm excited for them. Like I see the excitement and their spark and their inspiration, and I'm excited to see that. I'm
So-
not excited for the Olympics, but I'm excited that some of my peers in my circle are excited for what it might bring for them. But I
Other
don't know.
than-
People
other
don't even
than-
consider me a b-boy. You think they're gonna fucking give a fuck about the Olympics?
You don't think that the Olympics is gonna boost this sport? Or
No,
Because it's not a sport.
it's not a sport.
To me,
Why is it not a sport?
because we're fucking dance culture.
I mean,
We're-
there's other
we're-
dances in the Olympics,
we're-
right?
we're
Or am I
artists.
wrong?
Name two
Like we
dances
talk
that are
about
in the
ballet,
Olympics.
we talk
Not,
about
not in the Olympics.
gymnastics.
Not in the Olympics.
Gymnastics
It's
is
not a
in the
dance.
Olympics?
I'm sorry. No, it's
Gymnastics.
not a
Gymnastics in
dance.
the Olympics, but what you see somebody do air flares and automatically you just say that's like.
Hey, I'm
Yeah,
ignorant.
no.
This is what I'm saying. This is the point of the
It's okay. No, it's like
the
the
argument always goes about artist versus athlete when it comes down to it. To me, I do see that there is a sport aspect to this once we get into like competitions. Even like here, we have a sport. It becomes a sport when it's a competition and stuff like that. Because it's organized, you sign up, there's cash prizes, there's judges, there's all this, you know.
Everything you need for a competition.
That is a competition, that itself is a sport. But it doesn't just solely exist as a sport because the artistry that goes behind it. And that's where the subjectiveness between like, oh, that was a dope move versus that was whack.
So you worried about the capitalism
You know.
getting involved in the sport, or
Nah,
what's going on?
I mean, I think for me, it's like they're gonna create a sport out of it and monetize it the best that they can, and the best of their ability. I mean, they're doing that on a level, but I don't know. I'm just kind of indifferent about it. Like Stunt says, it doesn't make me or break me. I don't think I'll see any. Let's say 50 kids coming through the door. 2 will probably have like this idea of Olympic shit in their head.
One could be
And that's
Tyler.
a lot.
You know, and then
Ready for it?
that would be best case scenario. But
Yeah,
even
no,
then,
yeah,
like,
for sure.
Yeah.
like,
I might just do it.
I don't know.
Shit.
Like, Olympics is just like, you see what happens, you know, like how it's working, you know, they're figuring out how to get there and all that and all the laws, like legality stuff. And it's, you know, it's whatever. I just think like people selling it as like, this is gonna make you're gonna be having to fucking hire more dance teachers. It's like,
You're gonna have a waiting list. Like they
Like,
make it like
no, it's
not for everyone.
Like, I don't know.
someone out there might have that.
Like, nobody on a pro level with sports is worried about that. Like, that's what I started paying attention to, was like the shorties talk, and I'm like, they don't give a shit about the Olympics and basketball or the Olympics and any of this stuff. What makes you think they're gonna give a damn about the Olympics?
Well, I would like to test that because one thing is that when I watch the Olympics, I like to watch the weird sport of the Olympics. Like I see
Yeah.
you know, when they're pushing that little fucking thing on the ice.
Curling.
Curling.
Like
When I see fucking bobsledding, when I see like all these random weird sports, I'm like, whoa, this is fucking cool. And I find myself watching that shit for hours on end. You don't think?
But how much have you
people-
invested into those?
Well, the thing
monetarily
is,
or
when
like to go
when it comes
to
to
see a show?
bobsledding, I'm like, I already magically think I can't afford a bobsled, I can't afford that, this or that, but I can afford to get into a dance studio maybe. You know.
But
what I'm
like,
saying?
have you
So
gone to like anything?
What do you mean by that?
Like a bobsledding competition outside of like seeing it in the Olympics?
But that's so far away from dancing. That's how, you know what I mean. Like that's.
But that's
how-
what I mean. Is like it doesn't translate. It's like it's
I feel
cool
like I
to
could
watch.
a dance. I could watch people dance and feel like, okay, I can do this. But when I watch people do bobsledding or curling, I'm like, okay, I don't even know the place to start.
The shit
there.
they're gonna be doing on the Olympics, nobody's gonna be watching. Like I could do that.
I don't know if
Bumblebee.
I don't
like
know if,
I watch Bumblebee's clips and I'm just like, there is no. I could train for the rest of my life and still come nowhere close to what the hell he does. Like, why?
No.
You know what I mean? Like
And
even
I-
if
and
I
I-
started 10 years ago.
And I legit think he's better than me, but I don't think he can beat me.
Who?
Bumblebee.
Bumblebee. And he's just like, because it's just like, and the thing is like the point is that's what the accessibility of like the Olympics. Nobody gives a shit.
I want to be
Honestly.
honest, and I don't.
Not in your
Like,
circle.
I've had a different.
Yeah, I was saying, 'cause I
And
love
not in my
watching the
circle either.
Olympics. I love watching
But
the
somebody's
Olympics, even
circle
if it's
somewhere out there
bullshit
is
ass sports that
yeah.
I've never seen in my life.
Some of these
I
countries
love
have
watching it.
the government investing into
Yeah.
it.
And that's another thing. Yeah, some other countries are investing in these random ass sports, and they're like, who gives a fuck about that sport? Because this is America. But then you realize them countries are super invested into that
No,
sport.
they are. Russia
But-
and Japan. Are
But the
first
thing
ones.
is like,
Yeah, Russia, Japan, China,
Bro.
Korea.
they're super invested
yeah, Korea too.
into some of
yeah,
the
like
sports.
they're gonna be invested into it, but it's not the same here. It's not gonna translate. It's
Yeah.
not gonna. The Olympics is not gonna be a big thing.
Who do you
I
expect
don't-
to
I don't
win
think
the
so.
break-in battles of the Olympics?
Bumblebee.
Well, country-wise.
Well,
I don't know
Country-wise,
if
who's
we could
gonna
enter
hold
the
it down?
Olympics because he does.
Oh,
he
yeah,
did,
he did the youth-
youth
he already
Olympics.
won the youth
I don't
Olympics,
think he's
okay.
at the. He might. Someone could correct me out there. I don't
Yeah.
think he's. I don't think he qualifies for the.
Yeah,
Olympics.
sugar kicks or something like that. Like one of
Yeah.
those guys.
Hell
I
no.
mean, here he did. Here he did
Hell
it.
But like, so a lot of the people on my podcast, they don't know those names because they're as ignorant as I am. What countries are you thinking are
Japan.
gonna hold this down?
He's Japan.
Japan.
Japan, East
Hold it
Germany,
down.
East Europe, East
Germany?
I would say either if I had to
The
dial
fucking
it down to
Nazis
three.
are gonna hold it
If I
down
had
more
to
than
dial
us.
it down to three, I would say Japan, the Americas, and when I say the Americas, I mean the North and the South, like the Latin Americas and like America. Japan, the Americas, and maybe, fucking like the European side where like fucking Ukraine is at. Like
East Europe.
Ukraine,
Yeah, East Europe.
Russia, right? That's probably Russia.
Yeah, Russia
East-
too.
East
Yeah,
Europe.
Yeah, Russia
maybe.
took some.
But that's
of Ukraine.
a really, really big maybe because honestly,
Not for
that's
nothing.
like-
I'm with you. Once you put once you clustered all the Americas together,
It's a
yeah,
country. It's
the
a
Americas,
country
it's a
battle.
continent.
It's
but-
It's, all right, it's a country continental battle. Who do you professionals expect to hold down the
Japan and
Olympics?
East Germany because that's who's dominating the brackets right now.
Depends who they send, but yeah.
That sucks.
Japan, like the Americas are not doing
That's fair.
anything.
No, we're not.
We're
Innovative.
innovating everything that they're doing, but like
They're
you're not touching.
emulating.
There's dope people.
So who
South
are the best
America.
Americans?
I mean,
you think
this
that can-
dude Victor did a good job. He,
Yeah.
he
Well,
won gold.
actually, you know what?
He won gold recently.
What'd you say? I'm
Vic
sorry?
would be.
Victor. He just,
Oh, Victor's
he
cool.
just had a,
I don't know much about
thing.
Victor, but I have
I
watched
don't know why I
Victor.
always forget
But
about
how
He's
many
cold.
Victors are there though? And when I say that, I mean like Victor's cold because I used to not like Victor.
But in
he
the
grew on me
Olympics,
because
you
of
only
his
need one
elimination
Victor to
skill.
win.
Hold on, shut
I
up.
mean,
Like
'cause they
I
could
used
only
to not
send
like
one per
Victor.
country.
But I know he grew on me because he had ambidextrous style, and I really like started like watching what he
sweet.
did, and I was like, yo, he's different as fuck. But when I say like how many Victors are there, there's not a lot of b-boys who do that. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody has their own steez, and everybody has their own respective like what they bring to the table, like their own like assets and shit. But in terms of like you're talking about an international
International sport.
organization, or
Competition,
international
yeah.
like coming together.
The
that's
most
been going
famous
on
one.
for centuries.
Yeah.
Like when Mav says when he was saying that like nobody gives a fuck, we don't. And it's not like to be like an asshole about it, but at the same time it's like it may be because breaking is such a new activity that's been brought into the Olympics, like it might spike some like type of stock growth or interest rate, maybe. You know what I'm saying? It may make people
that
like
part.
inspire people on some like, oh damn, okay, this is getting like an international recognition, and this is something that I was doing in my basement just because I seen Step Up or because I seen
Yeah.
Stuff the Yard. So it definitely gives people like a type of like inspiration and motivation to get some shit done. But I don't see it going past that, honestly.
Would it be ignorant to say that America created breaking, or
We did.
Oh yeah, black culture,
We did.
Black American culture created breaking.
We
So
most
why
definitely
can't we be the
argue all day,
best? Why
Stas.
can't America be the best?
because at the same time you got
we aren't investing in it.
that.
Okay.
Like we are not investing in it on a government level, on
I'll tell
a
you
academic level.
one
like
of the dopest things that I realized.
Started working
early
to
on in my
build
travels.
after school programming. in
So-
these
kind of
schools.
things.
But even the after school program, like we just had that conversation a few days ago. Like we have to fight and defend something before we even like give them the like
It does
the
take work.
actual like positive things
There's
that
a
they
whole
get out
lot
of
of
it.
capitalism
Like,
involved
oh,
in the
this is
game.
hip hop and this does not involve girls shaking ass. But at the same time, you go to a jam and you go to a sniper, there's a chance somebody gonna be shaking ass.
What were you gonna say, Stunts?
Quick story.
quick story.
When you talk about like the support system in a country,
Yeah.
so the first country I ever went to was France. Long story short, I found out that there was a crew there that gets paid, or that got paid at that time. This is 2001. That the government funded and paid to live in some apartments, flats, lofts, whatever you want to call them, that were attached to a theater, and their sole purpose was to create theater pieces. So
do you
you
mean by
wake
theater
up and you go to sleep to create theater pieces to tour across Europe, and all your bills are paid, including your little apartment that's attached to the theater. So let's say we're all part of this crew in France. We'll wake up, have our little smoothies, a little breakfast, and then we jump into the studio. We create shows for the theater, and all our bills are paid. The government
That's
funded
not
that.
bad.
Is he a sellout for that, or how do you feel
Korea, Rivers had that sort of support for a long time. I've heard another crew in Japan had another. Was it Mortal Kombat? Maybe, I forget.
But the government just
But-
goes here, make us better, or whatever the hell they're thinking. But the U.S., even though the hip hop was created here and we, as a country, we sparked up a multi-billion-dollar
Yeah.
culture. The government goes,
We sparked it up and hated it at the same time.
Break
as
the
a
moment when
country.
you realize breaking could low key like pay all the debt from America like that we owe him and shit.
100%.
Like,
Hip-hop-
you send like a
hip-hop
squadron of
can
people
save
that
it.
know like the following and shit.
Yeah,
and just
hip-hop
have to
can
handle
save
biz.
yeah.
It's fucked up.
100%.
I have to go like in 5 minutes.
I was just saying, I can't take up too much time. Any closing thoughts from you guys? We'll start with the youngest, Tyler.
Hey man,
Keep it sweet.
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, bro. You feel me? I'm about to start working for this Olympic shit because somebody gotta win it. It might
Somebody
as
got to
well
hold
be
down
somebody.
Detroit, and somebody got to hold down
Somebody
America,
gotta win that
and
shit.
somebody got
and
to
it's
hold
like,
down
I'm not
the
trying to
South
sound
America.
too fucked up. I'm not trying to sound too fucked up and too like controversial, but I ain't gonna lie. I'd be damned if I let like some overseas people like win something. And
Or
it's
some
supposed to be-
Ohio people. How you gonna do if you lose to somebody from
I'd be
Ohio?
damned if I leave some Ohio nigga. You got me fucked up.
You
You
know
got
what
me
I'm saying?
50 shades of fucked up. You think I'm gonna let some Ohio people win a fucking that?
All right, for Mav 1.
Flo Ohio, the
you know what I'm
fuck?
saying? We got closing out.
The
We got
fuck?
the Olympics. Well, first of all, we're talking about
Shit.
breaking and what the culture is becoming, because it's obviously going to become a very strong American culture. And then we got the Olympics, all that. What's your take?
You gotta be the best on your block, the best in your hood, the best in your city, the best in your state, the best in your region.
Let's go.
And then you could worry about the international shit, Tyler.
Yeah, call my names.
Hey, look, hey, it's a lot can happen in a year.
I'll moot your ass real quick.
I'm already.
Based on past precedent of things like that, you always talk shit.
Hey man, that's half the battle. You know what I'm
Muted,
saying? I
you're
know
muted.
niggas that know techniques. They don't know how to talk shit for
You're
real. They know how
muted.
to
We're talking
kick out, but they don't know how to
I
fight.
think closing wise, I don't know. Everybody always says something fucking cliche like, just keep doing it. It's like, I don't know, get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People just need to get better. Myself included.
Actually, before we close out, I'm gonna let Matt pick back up on this. So, like I said, there's a lot of kids going to college and all this for dance and all that, but y'all didn't go to school for dance and all that. But y'all making money off dance and all that. So, as people that are profiting off the dance world and succeeding off the dance world with or without a degree, what is your advice to those people? And because you know, what I mean, people go to college with this expectation of getting this degree and exceeding in the dance art. You didn't even go to college. What's your advice? No. What's your advice to this? To that? Like, you know what I mean? If someone wants to build a career in the art of dancing, no matter what it is, what's your advice to them?
Outwork everybody. When everybody's chilling, outwork them. If you're laying back and you're complaining because you don't have things and you're chilling out, fucking bullshitting, caking, laid back, smoking all your loot, drinking all your loot and shit like that, then you'll never make it, yo. You gotta sacrifice everything, everyone around you in order to fucking make it, because that's the only reason that fucking this is sustained. I lost cars, relationships, homies, crew, family, and but I'm here, but it's at a cost. If not, you just end up working for somebody else. Like, you have to let go of all that extra other shit. Everything is a distraction.
Amen. Stunts, close it out. Same question, if you remember.
Just be original as fuck.
I do.
That's I'll answer
So
for
for anybody that goes to school for
George
dance,
Jones.
or close down. Everybody that goes to school for dance or tries to chase a career in dance but feels lost, what do you say to them? You know, because some of these people are getting $100,000 degrees in dance, but they're not doing what you do in dance. So what could you say to those people?
I mean, Matt made a very good point as far as distractions go. I remember one of my boys saying that any relationship he got into or even attempted to get to, he made very clear to this individual, like, yo, just know you're never gonna come before my crew. So that pretty much meant like, yo, you're never gonna come before hip hop. So we get easily distracted, and I know as human beings we need different things, but I think at the end of the day, if you're going to school, to answer your question for this, is like there's no schooling for this better than living it. Like, so they talk about like real life experiences, talk about like on the job training. Like, there's no college in this world that's gonna show me what I've learned in the last 30 years in living it. And that's the best thing. And I think it's arguable with some of my elders and some of my peers that talk about like, yo, some of us should just already have honorary like PhDs.
Yeah.
Like, think about in any other career choice, if you put 30 years into that, like, what does that make you? A 4-time doctorate?
No.
I've been doing this for almost 30 years.
Yeah, technically
like,
should. Yeah, you think.
So why do I need a piece of paper to tell me that I'm an expert in my field, quote unquote?
100%.
So at the end of the day, I think schooling is dope, and I think it serves its purpose, but education is more important than school.
Yeah.
So if you're
education is
and
more
you're sitting
important
there,
than school.
Straight up.
That's deep as fuck.
So we keep it pushing.
Let's go. Tyler, I'll give you 10 seconds to close it out. 10, 9,
No. What was the question? What was the question?
7.
Don't do that. Don't do that. What's the question?
Fucking, as a young artist, you heard from two veterans. As a young artist,
I didn't go to
you know,
school.
you're going in, you're trying to accomplish your dreams. What's some young advice you got? I'll give you 10 seconds.
All right, bet. Everything that you think is cool, it is. Make that shit simple.
Yeah.
Everything
Make that
that you
shit.
think, like as an individual, and this for all the younger people, all the younger homies, everything that you think is cool that your peers might have made fun of you for, they tried to bash on you or shit on you for, they tried to make you feel weird as fuck. If you think that shit is cool and you think that you have an option or a chance to make that shit better, That's your best chance at life to do that shit.
Let's go.
I used to fucking love dubstep and get shitted on, and
Except
now
for that.
every fucking beat that we hear on the radio is damn near trap step. It's
Except for
damn
that.
near dubstep.
He could be the
You know what I'm
dopest
saying?
popping from now.
It's just like they're just the dopest producers and shit. So
Yeah.
that just in point, like in conclusion, everything that you thought that as an individual that you think I think this shit is cool as fuck. That is at that moment, that is your best chance to really start coming into yourself and really being an individual and saying fuck what everybody else thinks. If you think that shit is cool, that shit is cool, and you should be able to make that shit better.
We
Let's
we
go.
opened up with that. When you said what you said, Stunts, and I was like, moral of the story: double down on who you are, and eventually people
Double
come
down,
along.
baby.
That.
Originality stands.
Originality
Stands alone, baby.
Good.
Thank you so much for tuning in on
Stand
Ignorant the Podcast. You heard it here first. This is real hip hop, real
Debatable.
breaking,
It's debatable.
all about it. And there's probably gonna be a round two. Thanks for tapping in. Peace and love, everybody.
Yeah, bow.